launching today. And the 99 Days of Peace through Unity also starts on Monday. So we're right here on the front end with our new 21-day program. And of course, this is going to we're going to bring these little bite-sized chunks, I'll call it, of unity where we're experiencing beauty, one day. And we're experiencing goodness one day, and compassion, which is what creates the feeling of goodness and joy. Right. So we're gonna these little bite-sized exercises that we'll do over 21 days, and it's a free program where we can experience unity and not just talk about it. Because of course that's the humanities team work, isn't it? Is we're not just trying to create some knowledge base or logic center of the mind. It's wisdom center of the soul. It's experiencing. It's really living in unity. So that's what this beautiful new 21-day program is bringing to people that sign up.
Yeah, that's incredible. And I love that you brought in the aspect of compassion because I feel like compassion leads to empathy and can really give us a greater understanding of that unity consciousness, of that oneness, when we can get into that space. What do you think?
Absolutely. So, and just let's kind of put this in a context too,
Sure.
right? In today's world, our perspective in humanities team and also these all of these good folks, Ben Bowler that has got this Unity Week and 99 Days of Unity through Peace, and all of the people collaborating all over the world during these programs is that our challenge today, if there were like a causal factor, or you could call it a first domino, it's that we feel alone, right? There's this sense of separation, which isn't unity. There's this sense of no, there's just, I mean, look on the Zoom screen here. It's just me, I'm all alone here, right? I don't have any connection to you or to God or to the earth, or I'm just all alone, right? And that creates a feeling of anxiety, even drudgery, even sort of transactional, where I'm just sort of going through life, just doing things to support this little separate body, right? That only has maybe 75, 80 years or something. But here's the good news is like Nobel Prize for Physics, right? Entanglement. Whoa, Einstein says greatest illusion in the world is separation is so the good news is we've been living into a false reality, where we think we're alone just because of this optical delusion. And so a program like this, focusing on unity, is saying, hey, you know, ultimate reality is other than I'm alone. So let's really live into it. Yeah. And you were saying compassion and empathy, and let's live into that. Hey, doesn't that feel good? When we do, where somebody yells at us or honks their horn, and instead of doing what we might have done growing up, we instead go, boy, that person probably maybe their life is really challenging. Their day certainly is, right? And so we're more coming back with its opposite, with empathy of, boy, I'm okay, a little prayer for you, because I know when you honk that horn, you're not feeling good. So little prayer for you. So now, okay, now we're coming into this love and light expression, right? And this is what, of course, mystics, when we bring in the mystical teachings that are this unity and this oneness, they're saying, well, no, this is who we are. Conversations with God, also, Neil Donald Walsh's 9-book series. Yeah, we are all one, right? Love is our basis, empathy is what we naturally express. So, this 21-day challenge, we're just kind of coming back into these beautiful experiences of what unity is and experiences the fruit of it, right? Where it's not just words, the fruit of it, our expression of empathy, of compassion, of beauty, of truth. It feels so good. Like, why would we not continue to do that after 21 days?
Yes, good point. And maybe the 21 days can give us tools to carry on this frequency and energy of unity and action. Well, let's go deeper into that. The theme of unity is central to this 21-day challenge as we talk about unity in action. And Ben Bowler has the Unite for Peace Coalition, and they invited Humanities Team to participate. And so Ben Bowler has played a key role in bringing together organizations like Humanities Team to work towards a collective peace. So, with this collaboration in mind, how do you see conscious living playing a pivotal role in global transformation?
Yeah, first, let me share. So Ben Bowler, also John Raymer, and also
The
some
Sign Network. Yeah.
Sign Network. Go to sign.network to learn more about them. So, and there are many that are collaborating here on this Unity Week, 99 Days of Peace through Unity. And so,
Yes. Thank you for mentioning that. Yeah.
yeah, shout out to them. Just beautiful people devoting their lives to this. So, okay, here's to you all, for creating this special time here. Oh, not just next week, but the whole summer, 99 days, which we're grateful to participate in with this program that we're launching, the 21 days experience that we've created, and on a panel that we're recording with Ben on Monday. So now, as to conscious living and how it can contribute to this. So one is if we had the time, and we don't, but I can see people on the screen here. There's some of us right here in the studio, and then there are a lot of you out there on social media watching. And if we had the time, what I would love to do actually is to say, what does conscious living mean to you?
Mm,
You know, what what does it mean?
yeah.
Does it
And
have,
that's an action right now. You can put that in the chat, don't you think, Steve?
yeah, that's a great idea. Put that in the chat, please.
Yeah.
What does
If
it
you
mean?
feel inspired, yes.
Yeah. What is it? Does it have value? If so, what is its value to you?
Mhm.
Right. I will share what we're in Humanities Team. We're a 22-year-old nonprofit 501(c)(3), launched in June 2003 in Wilsonville, Oregon. Neil Donald Walsh, myself, and others too launched it. And what we mean by it is what, again, mystics have sort of shared down through the ages for millennia, and that many scientists are now making it their life work, especially in quantum physics, where we're down in microscope, neutrons, atoms, protons, and things, where we're actually seeing the connection then of this vibrational or energetic universe, right? That's where the Nobel Prize for Physics came in 2022, where they said, oh my God, there's an entanglement. And when you look up entanglement, it says, wow, you could have things like even across the universe, and there's no physical connection at all, but they're deeply affecting each other. Okay, so this is bringing in the unity thing, isn't it? That there's a unity, even though our eyes say it's separate, we're not affecting each other at all. Science is saying, no, what the mystics shared down through the ages is true. We're actually deeply interrelated, interconnected, and interdependent. Which means even now, like to bring this down to reality of, so as I'm sharing, you're feeling what I'm sharing. There's an affect, or where Charissa sharing, she's saying, put in the chat, where she's affecting this group. We're affecting each other. That's what a vibrational universe is. So conscious living, our contribution to this um, is where we often talk about what naturally happens on the conscious journey, which is we start moving even without us knowing. Well, in my case, I didn't even know it, but I was moving from the logic center of my mind where I was a thinker, always thinking and planning, with my day planner and stuff, to throwing out my day planner. And I'm now, like even right now, I'm feeling. I'm coming from a place of feeling, of connection, and in my daily practice in the morning, that's what I'm doing is like with the divine, which it's the body of God is one way of talking about this unity, right? We like to go spiritual in Humanities Team, where I'm feeling into like, oh my God, the source of all it is. God, the divine. I'm offspring. I'm living offspring of her, of him, just as you all are. And so, and living in the reverence of that and the beauty and the blessing of that and returning it. It's reciprocal of man. And I love you too, just as you love me, right? And this whole, so the conscious living is where we become that expression, where of the consciousness of the capital C. I say capital C because not just the consciousness of the little brain, that's the little c. Consciousness of the with the big C, that's the her, that's him, that's the source of all it is. That's the, and it's actually easy, right? When we meditate or prayer or even walk in nature, right? Just walk in nature for a little bit and you're like, oh my God, I'm floating. I'm experiencing something so beautiful. Oh my God, right? That's it. That's it. That's the consciousness of a capital C that we come into when we walk in nature or we listen to beautiful spiritual music, or sometimes we just look at artwork, or a friend or kid or beloved, or even here, right? With where we say, hey, this is sacred. You all are offspring of the living one. Woo! I get to hang out with you here for an hour. I'll stop there.
Well, it's always wonderful interviewing you because I just learn something new every time and I feel a deeper connection to who I am. And you just kind of like blow my mind, expand my heart, all of that. So it's really wonderful and inspiring. I did want to read a few comments from the chat. So Ryan says, I learned a lot from the last 21-day challenge. Really found it good for a newbie. That's true. You don't have to have prior experience of going through a challenge or being spiritual at all. In fact, we'd love that even more, so you can connect deeper to who you really are. Someone's connecting from Iran. And then when we ask the question, what does conscious living mean to you? Starlight Jewel says, what a name. Conscious living to me means oneness, unity, and togetherness.
Mm.
So, yeah, and to me, that togetherness is this community of humanities team. What do you think, Steve?
Yeah. Oh, I mean, this is our whole thing is, even though we've now become the largest global streaming platform for consciousness raising education. So that's kind of a platform thing, right? Where you have a library of all these incredible
Right.
classes, you're streaming them all over the world. But notice that we lead with we're a community, first.
Mm.
And oh, yes, and we are a global streaming platform. And the reason is just exactly this. A community is that's there's so much when we talk about beauty and goodness and blessing and these things and peace, and we find that in connection, in community, right? Where we're not just standing on an island. Like right now, I'm physically actually in an office all by myself, but I'm not experiencing that I'm by myself. I'm experiencing that I'm in community right now, that there are lots of these beautiful souls gathered that where conscious living is important, where we all want to express it, and I'm feeling that connection, that community, and this is when we're on this journey to we talk about 2040 in humanities team because we got this download right from the divine of create a tipping point for conscious living in 15 years. Like wow, that's a big one. 800 million people is 10% of the 8 billion population. That's a big one, but that's what we got, so we said okay. uh, and in community where we're like this and experiencing this sort of flow state, right? It's beautiful. Why it's what it feels so good. You want to be in community, and it supports you on this journey, and it supports you in living this in this open-hearted way and in service. And the whole 2040 thing is where 10% of us are experiencing this in community. That the tipping point is just that people notice. It's like often the metaphor that's used is there are little bubbles coming up right when you're turning on when you're heating water, and at some point the bubbles start coming up, and that's tipping point, and then boom, the whole pot goes to boil. Likewise, 10% of us experiencing this flow state. We're all putting different words to it here. Even in the chat, you all are putting your own words to it, right? And as the earth experiences 10% of us that are expressing this way, the bubbles come up and then boom, The rest of the population is, oh my God, I got to participate in this. This is really a beautiful thing. I don't want to stand alone on my own island anymore.
Yeah. Yeah, that's so amazing. And I really feel this sense of urgency, and I know you do too, to come to this place with elevated consciousness for our fellow man, for humanity. And it's so inspiring just to see people's definition of what conscious living is in the chat. So I want to read a few more. So we have being on purpose with every thought and action. I love that. And I feel like that includes being present. We have awareness, being aware of my thoughts, words, and behavior, being guided by our intuition, connecting daily with the divine. And I really feel like that definition, this is and carrying that out throughout the day. That is really what the 21 days is designed for, to connect with that divine within, don't you think, Steve?
Absolutely. Yeah. And this in my masterclass in my free program, this is really the center of it, actually, is that daily practice, our conscious practices and our rituals too, where the way we eat, exercise, sleep, all of these things. This is what brings us into this state of divine connection. I was referencing, I was kind of going through the experience with you here a moment ago of where where we're really being knowing with certainty that we're definitely not alone, that the scientists share there is affect everywhere, and the consciousness with the capital C, its primary thing that it's just beaming down, I'll call it, is this unconditional love. And that's nature. When you see, I'm even looking out my window, there's a squirrel walking around and there's pine trees and sky.
Wanting to be in this conversation, the squirrel.
Yeah, yeah, they and I have all kinds of animals out my window that'll walk by, and yeah, they're in that all day long. So that's why nature, they're feeling that connection state. That's
Mm-hmm.
they're not with our minds. We can just shut it off and say there is no connection. My belief system is that I'm alone, and I will operate from there always, which doesn't feel so good. Or my belief system is shifted now based on mystical teachings, based on science, based on community here in humanities team. I really get that I'm actually a living, breathing expression of the divine, right? A part of this whole, this body of the divine. And yes, that's where, like, I have a technology background, so I'm not sure if this metaphor is going to be helpful. But so in the technology world, we used to use fiber, which is actually plastic with glass in the middle. And then we'd run the fiber across long distances, and then light beams would just shoot through the fiber
Oh,
to these other workstations and mainframes
oh,
and
yeah.
things.
Was
Um,
that part of your business too that you
yeah,
had? Oh,
we were creating high performance and secure networks all of global
oh, got it.
networks all over the world, like for the Gap and
Oh,
things.
that's wonderful.
So, and the glass is, so we're like the glass, right?
Okay.
Where we connect with that higher, the divine, with God, with that experience of unconditional love and peace and power and blessing and beauty. And I could go on and on, where we connect with that, those light beams, it's just like we're like glass. It's just we become an expression of that. That's what surrender means. When we say I'm going to surrender to this being state, that's what it is. We're the glass where we say, okay, I'm going to take my own individual ego, the me part, and I'm going to just sort of set it aside. And I'm going to allow now the divine, the we, the beauty and blessing and peace and all of this to instead express through me. And that's what you were talking about here as you were asking that question, I think, Carissa, is that you said, don't you think, where we're an expression of it. So yeah, I mean, that's the most beautiful place we can be is in this surrendered state where we are an expression of it. And it's okay, by the way, let me just bring this in.
Hmm.
That we're not perfect with that all the time. Something happens and you snap a little bit. We don't need to be upset about that. This is not about perfection, or it's not even about excellence in every moment, because we'll push it away. If we think, oh, I have to be perfect, we'll start pushing it away because we'll say, well, I can't be perfect. But where instead we say, well, I'm going to endeavor to do my best with this, and just be in this state as much as I can. Well, that's very doable, right? So where we just go to that place of I'm going to just be my best with this.
Hmm. Yeah, that's beautiful. And forgive yourself, when we're talking about compassion and empathy, have that for yourself also,
Oh,
not just
yeah, and it starts with yourself. And Louise Hay made her whole life about this. The Hay House, Louise Hay, who started Hay House.
yes, you can heal your life.
Yeah, yeah, for good reason, because for a lot of us, actually, we can be pretty I'll even use the term mean, with ourselves. Well, you did that, Steve, and this was a part of your past. So, you need to walk around in shame, uh,
Mhm.
and you need to, where I can't forgive myself for something, right? These are
Mhm.
common things that happen. And so, yes, it begins with ourself where we allow ourselves to become healed and say, I have always done my best. And I made mistakes, and that's okay. That's what life is. It was just to come down in this embodiment and be our best expression of love and light, and to say, well, where we didn't do our best, that's the past, and now is now. And I'm bringing a new expression to the world.
Hmm. Yeah, and it can also be an awakening or deepen our awareness as well as we go through these processes. So I want to read a few more comments because they're so amazing. Rosa says, understanding oneness, love without condition. These are people's own definitions of what conscious living means. Dream beyond personality, belief, and self-interest. This is Jeanette to common good, love and compassion, peace. And Jacqueline says, paying attention, being intentional, and using opportunities equals conscious living for me. And then Paula says, consciously moving forward, feeling the oneness of all that is. Aren't these definitions just incredible, Steve?
Yeah, they're beautiful. Boy, thank you for inviting people to share in the chat. And also, so there's a much, much larger crowd here on social media right now,
Yes.
right? So if you're on Facebook or YouTube or Instagram or wherever you are, in the chat, post what is your definition of conscious living, and we can maybe even read some of those if we can go find them. So yeah,
Yeah.
what's your definition of conscious living? Because one of the things you probably know about Humanities Team is this is not about dogma, where, oh, there's a definition or a path or something. Ours is actually very inclusive of that mountaintop, which is where we're really in this oneness state with the divine. That there are millions of paths to that mountaintop, millions have passed. So we're just talking about kind of organically in our life, what was that path? How did it unfold? So that we went from, I'm saying, I was a thinker and logic center of mind to wisdom center of soul. How did that happen? Right. Otherwise, it's interesting, but it doesn't have much value. So this 21-day program, which by the way, I think you need to sign up for. So let's put a link
Yes.
in the chat so you can
Yeah,
sign up
thank
for
you.
the 21 days of peace. And then maybe out on social media, with Eva's help, we could get out there too and put links so people can sign up for the 21 days program here that's tied to this week of unity and 99 days of peace through unity. So yeah, I
Thank
encourage you
you.
all to sign up.
Yeah, that's great. Okay, so look for the link wherever you're watching and please sign up for this free 21-day challenge. And if you have any additional questions about this challenge, please feel free to put it into the chat wherever you're watching, and Steve can answer your question or myself. So, wonderful. So, what can each of us do through our daily choices and actions to contribute to the creation of a flourishing world where love, peace, and sustainability are foundational to all our interactions?
Yeah, so I love the question because it's really getting right down to sort of where does the rubber hit the road? So what are we just blah, 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 or is there something we can really do here? And yeah, so here's the thing is we don't need to have grandiose notions here, of I need to do something that is going to shift my whole neighborhood or the state of Colorado or the world or, we, if that comes to you, then you're an unusual one and God bless you, and boy, do something with that for sure. But for most of us, this is a little one, where just the little spoonfuls of sugar, I was referencing if there's a horn that honks, if there's somebody that is uh, going off on you that's triggered, um, to just try this, say, okay, I'm gonna stretch into a little extra compassion here, a little extra loving expression, um, or even where somebody's not going off on you. One of the things I love about conscious living, I call it going outside of your lane. So, okay, my lane would be Steve waters the plants and makes the bed and does whatever he does, right, in the household. Um, but where I look around, a lot of times I'll see there are things that aren't part of what I do, where the counter is messy. Oh, we ran out of something, need to go to the store. Just get out of my lane of, hey, I'll be back in 10 minutes. I'm going to run to the store. I noticed we ran out of this, or you just cleaned the counter, or somebody needs to be picked up. It's not my normal thing. I'm going to run and go pick them up. You just get outside of your lane with something needs to be done. Let me go do it. So the beautiful thing here again too about this, if we do these little spoonfuls of sugar, these little exercises, is they feel so good that I almost promise you'll do it again tomorrow and the next day. See, because a lot of you know my story in Silicon Valley of all the riches and that, and where there's material wealth that's absurd. But it's not a very happy place, a lot of the time. And we don't have this sense of being fulfilled, of being an expression of this that we're talking about, that you all are putting in the chat. We don't have these feelings.
But
So
it
that's
can
what
be. You
it
can
can
be
be, yeah.
wealthy
And
and
if you're in Silicon
spiritual.
Valley,
We hope
bring
that.
it to Silicon Valley. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, we can bring it all over the world.
Yeah.
Exactly. Beautiful.
Yeah.
Just little things though, and do them right away. Don't wait till tomorrow because what I find is it's a kick the can and tomorrow we forget. So if you do some of these little things today where you stretch out a little beyond where you have been, because people here probably already are compassionate on a certain level and giving on a certain level. So what we're saying is stretch out to a little more.
And the first day is today of the 21-day challenge if they sign up. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, right. Today is the first day. Yeah, and they're all 21 of them are in, and
Amazing.
wonderful. I'll share too
Yeah.
for those that are interested. So, we've referenced there's a new masterclass that I created, uh,
Hmm.
and there's a free program actually that's called the Conscious Blueprint: A Taste of Life and Flow. So, the Conscious Blueprint: A Taste of Life and Flow, and it's a free program that just gets into it, goes a little deeper into all of this. Um, and talks, for example, a little more about the conscious practices and those rituals and claiming our divinity and things like that. So, if you like the idea, you can sign up for that free program too, and I think you'll enjoy it.
Yeah, and if we have that link, we can put that on all our social media if any humanities team member has that. And then you can forward that to your friends. So this 21-day challenge is for anyone, and also that course, that free course that Steve was talking about, the Conscious Living Blueprint. So we would encourage you to do both because they synergize, right? They tie into each other,
They do,
correct?
yeah, yeah. They synergize, and it's really our whole 22 years as a nonprofit that we're bringing in here. Let me add one thing here too. That's kind of some of the basis for all of this, which is the way we grow up is often that we want to give, knowing there's something we're going to get in return. You know,
Conditional.
that's our conditioning exactly. Of okay, I'm ready to give, but now what am I going to get for this if I give? Right now, part of the basis of this unity. week here and the 21 day is we actually so the miracle and the synchronicities and the blessing and these things, they actually come from a basis of I'm going to give without any conditions at all. I'm not going to expect anything back at all. There are no conditions in this giving, which is rather unusual on the planet today, just because most of us don't grow up that way. But this is where the magic starts happening, where we start giving this way with no conditions, and that's part of how this these feelings emerge of wow, that felt so good. I mean, it just that I was kind of helpful here. I did something that was supportive, and I didn't expect anything in return.
Yeah. Yeah, amazing. And there is a spiritual principle of when you come from that place of unconditional giving, you do get back, but it's not always in the way you expect. So it's not always from that person. So that's really a wonderful principle that I love because it can come back through a situation or another person. So, but if you come from that place with that open heart and unconditional giving, it just creates miracles in your life. And I've experienced that definitely.
Yeah,
So,
let me bring in one aspect
yeah.
here too, which is we're talking about all of what returns to us,
Mhm.
simply by living in this conscious flow state. But let me just share this one as well. Is most of us also have a desire to, I'll call it, lift humanity in some way.
Mm,
Or we look at younger people and babies being born into the world, children and things, next generation that are coming into the planet, and most of us are concerned for them. And if you're a parent or a grandparent, boy, there's a concern, right? Of are things going to be okay? Have we created a world that will bless them the way we've been blessed, right? So all of the things that we're talking about do actually come back and create this what Joseph Campbell called a static moment. He called it, following your bliss. I believe he was talking about what we're talking about here now in conscious living. So it's why would we not do it? Because it feels so good. But I'm bringing in another dimension of when we do these things that I'm talking about, we're actually helping to lift humanity. And those kids that we have a concern for, those grandkids, those future generations, when we become in service like this and we become open-hearted and more loving and more thoughtful and all of these things, we are lifting humanity, and again, we're deeply affecting each other, going back to what we talked about a little earlier. It is creating effect. So
mm.
you are lifting humanity and you are participating directly in creating this future that's going to support our kids and grandkids and future generations.
Yeah, thank you for bringing that in. And that is touching on what you were saying earlier about increasing the consciousness of humanity, where only 10% of, not only, but 800 million people or 10% of the population can affect the whole. And so that frequency and vibration is so high, they can't help but feel it. So, yes, that's so important. And also, to open up our hearts to the learning of our children or the younger generations because they're deeply spiritual as well, don't you think?
Oh, they are. Yeah, they have their own terms, but they love, 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 love live community, especially if you bring in some dance and hip hop and make it fun and go into the evening. And so, yeah, they'll do different things with this, but these young people born into the world, they get this, and they're living expressions of it. And unfortunately, in the Western world, a lot of times we put labels on them of, there's this younger generation is these things. They're actually living it, and it is true that the younger generation, this whole I'm going to just give my life, I'm going to put a saddle on myself, and I'm going to give my life for my paycheck, and I will go for 40 hours a week for the rest of my life to dead. They're saying I don't want to do that, well. They're wanting to live authentic lives as expressions of the one. And
Mm.
yeah, it's beautiful.
Yes, and I did want to mention, just talk about the links that have been put in the chat. Thank you, Eva. So we've got the 21 day, so sign up for that. We've got Steve's masterclass, the free. There's a sign up for that, and the Conscious Living Blueprint, and then also World Unity Week. That humanities team is going to be a part of starting with summer solstice, June 21st. So, yeah, and the Sign Network, One World, their organization. So I just wanted to acknowledge all of that. And Rosa says, many thanks to these valuable free courses. Yes. And how does this challenge align with the core values of truth, beauty, and goodness, Steve?
Yeah, so when we talk about unity, we leave the alone state, which we've talked about, right, where that creates anxiety and things. And instead we become lifted up, it's almost like an elevator where we then embrace unity and with gratitude as one of its components. Then um, yes, beauty, truth, goodness, these things, these are natural emotions that we experience in this unity state. So, as we were talking about, Joseph Campbell with these calls it the ecstatic moment and following your bliss and so on. Well, what does bliss mean? And what does ecstatic mean? Well, it means that as we look out on the world now with this new view from being conscious, that we see the beauty like in nature here in life. So let me stop on that for a second. Life, around us, as we're conscious and we're living in unity, we see that actually the highest priority is life. What we realize is we've been just sort of running past it, like in my Silicon Valley days. I'm just running past beauty to get to a destination, my office or some meeting or something, to accomplish something. I'm not even aware of the beauty around. I'm running right through it. I'm not present to see the beauty. I'm present to I got this meeting in 30 minutes. That's what I'm present to, right? So I'm running right past the beauty. As we're conscious, we're living in this connected state, and we're living in this reverence. And as we're living in this gratitude, these things naturally emerge. You do see the beauty. You are not rushing past anything. You know, right now, the pines, I can actually see in Boulder, Colorado, they call them the flat irons, right? These big, uh, beautiful cliffs that are right there over the city. I can see those actually here right now. And there's a little fog around them because we've had a little bit of rain here this week. It's gorgeous. I see that beauty. I'm not trying to, and this moment. So I'm not thinking, well, this program's over in 10 minutes or 15 minutes. I'm like, I'm here right now, experiencing the beauty of this moment, where we're hanging out together. And then likewise, goodness and truth. Truth is another one. Ben Franklin, had a lot of fun talking about truth, where he would say that he formed communities, and one of the features of his community is that the people would love truth for its own sake. Think about that one, loving truth for its own sake. I mean, isn't that a beautiful thing? I mean, that's heart uplifting for me to think about that. And that where truth is, where we know certain things are true, that we do deeply affect each other, that there is a source of all that is, that I can live into a consciousness of a capital C, that I can be in service, more and things. It's beautiful. Yeah, it's these are expressions that bear fruit. I'll call it, the bear fruit.
Yeah, about beauty and noticing things more. And as to the animal around me, and it really affects my beauty and perfection.
The complex little design and beauty.
Mm,
We slow down, like you say,
mm,
and we become more present, and we start seeing things that we'd never seen before. And let me share if you've read my book. It's called A New Universal
Yes,
Dream.
I've read it. It's so
Yeah,
good.
I haven't always been this way. You're going to see a stark contrast. My girlfriend there, oh my God, when she was turning 30, which is a big birthday.
Yeah, you
I'd been
forgot her birthday.
a week or two earlier, and people had given me some muffins, and I had a few stale muffins in my refrigerator. I grabbed one of the stale muffins and I put a candle in it. Happy birthday! And boy, I'm lucky I didn't have a shovel that was bammed over my head. So I've had to grow, we grow into these things, right? It's not, we did, unless we grew up as a Sufi, which I don't think any of us did probably here. We have to let go of old beliefs and old processes and old ways of living and embrace these new ideas, new ways of living. I was also a altar boy in the Catholic Church, and a lot of these beliefs that I'm talking about don't probably sit well in every Catholic church. Probably some that St. Francis was part of, but or
Oh
and
yeah,
actually the
amazing.
Pope Francis too, who just passed. He was a pretty
Yeah.
enlightened guy.
Yeah, amazing individual. So I want to go back to the 21-day challenge. And what do you feel is the purpose of the challenge? So you had the first 21-day challenge for Humanities Team, now the next one.
Yeah. So what the reason we wanted to do this is where you go to a summit, and you watch a program, it can be a pretty beautiful thing, and you can get a lot out of it. But it tends to have a shelf life, I'll call it. A day, 2 days passes, a week passes, and it's gone, just gone, right? Um, and so we said, well, what if we create a little spoonful of experience for 21 days? So we can create an ingrained, I'll call it a habit, um, something that has some continuity to it. So where we experience a little spoonful of unity with goodness or beauty or truth or compassion or empathy, right? For 21 days. It tends to have a shelf life that is longer, where you're going through that for 21 days. It'll ingrain more of a habit there of I'm gonna after doing something like this, where you really consciously start turning the dial, on your life of I am going to now continue this. I've done it for 3 weeks. I can do it for 3 weeks longer or 3 months longer. Um, for us here, for me, um, I'm not the guy that pulls out a stale muffin anymore. I'm really pretty good. That didn't happen overnight. It's an organic unfolding. It's day by day through these little experiences, such as our 21-day program, that have a shelf life that's longer than a day or a week, where it over time it becomes ingrained, where you actually become a whole new person. I'm a completely new person now from the person in the 1990s, completely different. But that didn't happen overnight. So our 21-day program it's a catalyst. It's something to support this process of just stretching into the fullness of our conscious self.
Yeah, that's wonderful. And I just wanted to read a comment. Rosa says, the first challenge was amazing. Thank you. And I definitely agree with that. And I know we're not really talking about Stream Plus and these other things that we have, but I just wanted to say that a member benefit, which I feel like is huge, is that we are doing live watch parties of Steve's new master class. And it's so exciting just to be with you in person and to go through these master classes together, higher self, higher purpose. So I just wanted to mention that as part of the benefit of being a Stream Plus member.
Yeah, thank you for bringing that in. We actually did our very first viewing at 10 o'clock, 10 o'clock Mountain Time, so 9 a.m. Pacific, 12 noon Eastern, every Thursday for 12 weeks. And the first one was yesterday. So where we're actually going through the whole masterclass together. And you'll see this masterclass is where it's not scripted, there's no teleprompter. You're just seeing me talking straight from the heart through
Hmm.
each of the modules is what I do. And before and after, it's a viewing party. So we're talking live, just like this. This is live, of course. So where people are saying, well, what about this? And how about that? And could I do this? And so we mix it up, a real community thing. It's a blast. And I don't know that we'll do lives again because it's 12 weeks. So
Hmm.
if you do come into Stream, which is it's right now the lowest price streaming platform in our industry, it's $2.99 a year or $29.99 a month. And of course, you get over 250 master classes with Greg Braden and Suzanne Giesman and all of these leaders. But my new master class just came in. And yeah, we're doing this viewing party. And if you are a stream member or become one, join us every Thursday, okay? 9
Yeah.
a.m. Pacific, 12 noon Eastern. It's a blast. We had a good crowd yesterday and lots of questions. And so we can go further than just the modules, which I think are pretty powerful. But we bring in all the live interaction too, which adds a lot.
Yeah, I'm so happy you said that. I mean, I felt like that was the most well-attended watch party we've ever had. That was incredible. So it's just really exciting all the benefits members have as being a Stream Plus member. So we'll get back to the 21-day challenge, though. In a world full of distractions where the pursuit of external validation often takes center stage, how can we shift our focus back to what truly matters?
Yeah, so I love the question because it's bringing in something that we haven't talked about yet here, Carissa, which is, external validation, right?
Hmm.
If we
That's right.
go to how most of us were raised, your parents and your friends would say, oh, go to these colleges and major in these things and then become a doctor or lawyer or something, right? That there's these external influences on our lives. That tends to be how life works, is you've got a lot of external pressures, influencers saying in the old American dream thing, of, oh my God, great, Steve, that you ended up there and, all of that happened. That would the external world says, hooray, you really hit the jackpot there. Our internal world doesn't agree, right? That's why I left, is my internal world was saying there's a lot more that I'm here to do, that I can give my gifts in a way that is going to contribute in a much more substantial way than just building companies. So this is a big one when we talk about conscious living. Is just really, awareness is a big part of this. Is just where we're paying attention. We were talking about earlier where we stop and we're present and we're paying attention. We're not rushing past. But there's also this dimension of just external influences of what do your, parents, friends, neighbors think, and how much is that influencing your life, versus just letting that go and realizing you're not here to be a people pleaser. You're here to be the authentic you, to give the gifts that you were meant to give. Let me share a story about this. We get to work with, just incredible faculty all over the world, these leaders that create masterclasses.
The
Okay, so
most amazing faculty. Oh my
yeah,
gosh.
just I mentioned Greg Braden and Suzanne Giesman and Nassim Harriman and Bruce Lipton. We work with all of these people all the time.
Hmm.
Uh, there's a woman that's an animal communicator that I met. She's creating programs right now for Humanities Stream. She
Hmm.
is incredibly gifted. She's gone viral on TikTok, so it's kind of hard to get a session with her. Her name is
Mm.
uh, and she's really, really gifted. Now, we had our dog pass back in November, so we created a session with her so we could speak to Sadie, our this
Hmm.
beloved dog who passed. She has that gift. Now, she was sharing her personal story. Here's where external influences come in. She said, Steve, I was in high tech public relations
Oh, you could really relate.
and making a lot of money, boy.
Yeah.
She was really good at public relations for tech companies. But she noticed from the time she was a little girl that she would have this gift of she'd see a pet, a cat, a dog, a bird, and she could actually feel what was going on with that Yeah,
Mm.
she could actually feel their vibration, their world. Also, in
Mm.
you
Wow,
know,
that's deep. Yeah,
yeah,
she could feel what it felt like to be them. Okay.
yeah, she could feel their whole what their thinking was and why they did what they did, and so she felt that, but she pushed it away. Her parents were like, "Oh my God, Kara, come on," you know. But
Yeah.
then she said a moment came in her career where she, from above, I'll call it God, said, Kara, are you going to keep pushing away the gift that you have, that you were born into
Uh-huh.
the world to use,
Yeah.
to
That's
do
a
what you're
powerful
doing?
gift.
Or are you gonna do what you were supposed to do? And she, I mean, she felt that in a really strong way. So she went, oh my God. So she went to her parents, who she loves dearly, and said, I'm so sorry, but I'm going to quit this job in technology, and I don't know what kind of how I can monetize my work or make any money doing this, but I'm have the gift of animal communication. So I am going to go and support people that want to be in touch with their animal, that's here today or gone into the afterlife. Uh, and it was a tough move. So this is where, external validation versus internal calling, right? And boy, thank God she did, because she is so good at this that, as I mentioned, some of the people that have done readings with her have gone on to TikTok, and she's gone viral. And now she's got like a 2-year waiting list,
Mm.
because she's so good at it. So this is hopefully speaks to all of us of don't let external influences create guardrails on your life where you don't go and give the gift of genius that you have.
Yeah. We're really processing that. It's powerful what Steve just said. Yes. So take a moment and breathe that in. Mm. Yeah. Well, you mentioned that living consciously means making choices that align with the values of love, unity, and respect for all life. Can you give us some examples of how this looks in action? What does a conscious choice look like in everyday life?
Of course, down through history, there are so many examples there. I grew up in the Catholic Church, Christ, of course, and Buddha as well. But Mandela, who many of us lived in his physical lifetime, Archbishop Desmond Tutu, Saint Mother Teresa. So many, but these are sort of the icons here in this world. On a smaller level, we all probably, even ourselves, or with family members or friends, uh, have in our lives people that very much are living into this place of service to the world around them, right?
Hmm.
And
I got
you're
to meet Desmond Tutu. That was amazing.
Yeah, yeah, we actually gave him our spiritual leadership award. So our whole
That's
global council,
incredible.
we did a program with him that was broadcast on live TV down in South Africa. What an amazing time that was. But yeah, so there are many examples of this where we see people that are givers. We go from being a taker to a giver. We go from being trying to receive to being in service. We go from more closed-hearted of what are they going to give me if I give them that to open-hearted, where we're just giving for the sake of giving. So there are examples everywhere of this. And let me bring this in too. I have in my life certainly examples of this, of just incredible givers. But I also have in my life friends that are like married to or have a very close relationship with somebody that hasn't bridged over to this yet and is very much in the me and what I need to do and how I'm going to support, the me thing. And the pain that I see that causes not only for the person that's living in that world, but those that love that person and are around that person, where we really can't find our way to giving and instead focusing more on receiving. It creates incredible pain, I'll just say. And so finding some way to heal that, support people where they experience, where they're in that world, give our gifts. If some of us are healers, bringing healing to people like that is can be a huge thing.
Mm, yeah, that's wonderful. Well, we're coming to the end of the program. If anyone has any comments or questions. So maybe I'll just go into one more question. The journey of conscious living is continuous. How can we stay engaged with the process of awakening and deepening our awareness as we navigate the ups and downs of life?
Okay, this is a great question too, because it gets to something we haven't been able to talk about yet here, Carissa, which is this. So how do we continue, right? How does this go on to the expanse of our entire life, for example, right? Now, again, we get to work with the incredible mediums and near-death experience community and scientists and all of this. And interestingly, the Bruce Lipton scientists or Greg Braden scientists or Nassim Haramein scientists agree with the near-death experience community, where they talk about the light tunnel that we go through and then experience these colors and this love expression and these things that are just beyond imagination. Likewise, the mediums, of course, speak to this too, this light tunnel, this light and love expression, where we're a candle in the sun, so to speak, that there is nothing but love and light, right? Now, what they share, not really so much the scientists, but the near death experience community and the mediums, is at the end of our physical life, as we transition, what happens is we go through our life review. And in the life review, what's happening is we're seeing it's not at all about what we were seeing, feeling, thinking at all. The life review is just like using the example here of what you all right now are thinking about me. The life review is I'm actually now experiencing throughout my life what people were seeing, feeling, tasting, touching around me. So it's the Milu, what is her? She said, it's not what people say, it's how they make you feel.
Maya Angela. Oh, okay.
Angela, thank you. So that's kind of the life review, is we're
Mm.
experiencing that. And then we go into the light, and then there's actually a revolving door, right? We reincarnate and come back. And so we actually have hundreds, thousands of lives. So Stephen Covey, in his book, Seven Habits, which a lot of people have read, it was a huge book. In habit number 2, it said, begin everything with the end in mind. Begin with the end in mind. That's the end. What we've come to understand in humanities team, the end is a life review like that, where it's not what did I think or it's what did people feel around me. And then I'm going into the afterlife, which is all a love expression until I want to embody and try and do my best again to come back and be a love and light expression, which I think is the whole reason for embodying anyway. So if that's all true, okay, and I'm convinced it is true just from working with these gifted teachers for so many years, then when we talk about the continuity of this, so Steve, a year from now, 10 years from now, what are you going to be doing? What are you going to be focusing on? This is what I will focus on because this is the whole, that's the end of my life. And one, I want to experience what I do experience now, even as we're talking, we're sharing and it feels good. I feel like maybe there's some people that are getting something out of this. So it feels good. So I'm going to feel good doing this anyway, being in service. And then I get to experience it all over again in the afterlife where probably some number of people think, I'm experiencing them uh, feeling positive about ways I was trying to contribute. Uh, so that makes a whole lot more sense to me than the reverse, where I'm doing a me thing and I'm in pain and I'm creating pain for people around me. And then I go into the afterlife and I see that pain all over again,
Yes. Well, we hope that everyone here that's listening decides to join the 21-day challenge. If we could put that link in the chat again. And thank you, Steve, for sharing your heart, your wisdom, and your inspiration. And thank you all for joining us for Living in Unity, Awakening to Our Collective Power with Steve Farrell. And we hope you'll all join. We appreciate all of you who are new to Humanities Team and Stream Plus members. And we look forward to seeing you in our community for the 21-day Unity Challenge. Right, Steve?
We do. Yeah. Thank you all for being here and for hanging out with us. And Carissa, thank you for being such an excellent host. And hey, let's go do it. Let's go, now sign up for the 21-day challenge. If you are in stream, come to the Thursday programs. Let's keep hanging out together and sharing your experiences, which we do during when we do the Thursday viewing parties. You're going to come in with your own perspectives and thoughts and questions. So let's keep hanging out together and let's live this.
Yes. Amen. Blessings.
Hey, love and peace and blessings, everybody.